Oh my God, what the hell is this? He's gonna try it! And will this be enough? My God,
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Ruckus Wrestling. You heard the bell, you saw the intro, now you see our faces. I am Josh Mabry, alongside my tag team partner in this journey, Justin Toner. How are we doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right, despite spoilers.
Yeah, despite spoilers, which we will not go over the spoilers until next week's show, so tune in for that for our actual reaction and review of those shows. But yes, that is our main topic of today, because this isn't the first time ever that wrestling has taped shows.
Right.
Okay? They basically film 2 Raws. They're going, and tomorrow night, I believe they're going to film 2 Smackdowns. For their next week. They did it for, they taped Smackdown in Saudi as well. This isn't the first time they've done it. Obviously, if we way back in the Monday Night era, where Raw was taped, it wasn't live, and Eric Bischoff was
during the height of the Monday Night Wars, Eric Bischoff did not hesitate to give away the Raw results because they were taped.
No, and he basically buried his own grave, not knowing it, with the Mick Foley.
That's why Raw went a lot more. They tried to go more live as often as they could.
Right.
To avoid that.
But yes, that's our first topic, is the pros and cons. I figured out, just because of all the spoilers and because of War Games, and so you have predictions, but you didn't know. But now that it's kind of, unfortunately, for what we know, it's not a spoiler, but the War Games are shaping up coming into next week.
To borrow from Paul Heyman, it's no longer prediction, it is now a spoiler. Literally.
Literally it is a spoiler, at least as far as we know right now. And I posted on our Discord, said, hey, spoiler, unfortunately got spoiled for me. Spoilers are online. Please refrain if you can. And then Justin, unfortunately, listened to shout out to JD from New York. He was watching his show, and unfortunately some people got on there and spoiled it for Justin as well. So we have seen some videos and stuff like that. I would just say, guys, if you can, all the fans out there, please don't do that. Number one.
And we're not going to go over these spoilers for next week's episode of Raw that was taped on Monday night. So
we'll give our review of, we'll hold our opinion of how it all kind of shaped out, at least for next episode, into just how it all kind of plays out. So we're going to try during our Raw review, Raw review, or our SmackDown Raw review.
Since we both know like what happens next week, we'll try not to give anything away, but it's like speculation about certain things would be mute because of what we know is going to happen on next week's show. So it's like it makes things a little difficult for us, which is why I was not happy about it when it happened on Monday night. Right. I was not happy. Because people can be arseholes, and
so
it's unfortunate.
We will try and refrain from giving any subtleties or anything like that. We'll act like we're going to try and do the Men in Black thing of like we've got our mind washed. We've never seen it before.
Yeah, is there a neuralizer laying around here somewhere?
Yeah, I know. I want to go back and not know what's going to happen 2 weeks from now, or at least on Monday.
What's up, Jeremy? Jeremy Miller.
Jeremy. Always a pleasure seeing you. So yes, so let's get into discussion of this.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, there's not a whole lot of news, so we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna go over a legend that we unfortunately have. We're gonna also talk a little bit about our little plug here. We're gonna talk about the pros and cons of having tape shows, and then we're also gonna go into our favorite memories of Eddie Guerrero. A couple of days ago, shout out to GIF we're like, hey, I know it's a slow news day. Here's a topic you all can cover. I never get tired of talking about Eddie's career. He's one of the greatest wrestlers that I've ever seen, just from top to bottom. And so me and Jessica are going to go over his life again because we just celebrated the anniversary. Unfortunately, it's been 19 years since the anniversary of his unfortunate passing at 38 years old. But let's switch back here to the pros and cons. And I'll give you kind of what I think WWE is doing of why they're doing more tape shows now. Yeah. And so this is more of just what the facts that I've seen laid upon me that WWE is related, and then I'll flip it to you and you give me what you think pros and cons are. So what we know so far is that they are actually this isn't like a one-time deal where they're just going to do this, because they've been taping some shows here recently, mainly SmackDown. They've been taping a couple of those, but they also they were saying, so the wrestlers can have a little bit more time off. Yeah. And spend more time with the family, especially around the holidays now, to give them, so they're going to tape more shows. Also, TKO, I forget which board member it was. Sorry, I forgot his name, but he basically came out as well and saying that it's actually more beneficial for us to do tape shows. It's kind of a win-win. The wrestlers and the talent get a little bit more time off, don't have to be on the road all the time. And then also it's cheaper on them instead of going from city to city to city to city, just doing much less cities. And just doing a couple of tape shows, and then they can move on to maybe more live shows. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to flip that schedule, but those are what we hear from WWE on why they're going more towards this. So your thoughts of pros and cons of going to tape shows?
Yeah, so the pros are pretty obvious. Like in certain situations, like when they have to go overseas, either to Saudi or some other place for a pay-per-view PLE event, it makes sense to tape a show, especially SmackDown, before they leave. And it's also useful for, like you said, around the holidays, give the wrestlers more time off to spend time with their families. That's a great thing. Nothing wrong with that. So, and I think you mentioned it's like it actually saves money as well at times too. If you're filming 2 episodes, do one live and then film next week's right afterwards. Now, the big con, of course, is since we live in the advent of the internet, that stuff can easily be spoiled by the people who are attending the tapings. So, and people are not going to resist posting spoilers, and so stuff's going to get on the internet. And sometimes you may not go looking for it, but it can be thrown in your face, like it happened to me, by people who not thinking. So that's the big con, is that it's like that. It's easy to find out what happened if you look hard enough. But even if you're trying not to look for it, sometimes it can end up being accidentally end up in your face, whether you're intended or not, which is the second part, like what happened to me.
Yeah. With me, obviously, like you said, that is a big pro of that obviously the wrestlers get time off. Even Ryback, of all people. Did you see his big, long tweet?
No, I don't follow Ryback.
Yeah, well, someone retweeted. I don't follow him either. But so many people were retweeting because they're like, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Ryback, because Ryback was basically saying the same thing, even though he basically curses at the wrestling business. But then this one time he comes out and says, wrestlers are on the road more than they are with their families and stuff like that, and they need time. So no one understands, because it kind of came off, at least the way the IWC first came off, especially, and the only reason this is being brought up right now, obviously unfortunately got spoiled for me and Justin. It's also a huge angle that they're trying to build.
The major storylines were spoiled as a result of the spoilers that we became privy to.
Now, this isn't and plus, when you have a live crowd, they're going to film stuff. Whereas, NXT, for example, they used to, even in especially in the black and gold era, they really didn't do much live stuff, because it was mainly on WWE.com, on their streaming service. So that's the only way you could watch it. And they would tape 3 shows at once.
Oh yeah.
They were taping that left and right. And of course, it never got out yet. Yes, spoilers, you just saw, you might saw bullet points
can get out. It's rare that video happens, because it's like that. But when NXT is also tape shows, it's like those are a little bit harder to find. You really got to dig for those, just because. Yeah.
And they police the crowd.
SmackDown are a bit more of a priority,
right?
Same for AEW, because AEW, like, it's like the spoilers for Rampage are already out. That airs on Friday because they taped that after Dynamite last night.
Yeah. And then with the NXT, they also can kind of police the crowd a little bit, just because
it's smaller, it's easier to police.
It's easier to police. So yeah, it just kind of, this isn't like this, but it's becoming more of a trend now, is what we're seeing, is why we're kind of bringing this topic up. Another thing that I'm wondering about is, I think they're doing it now to see if it can work, to show Netflix that they can still do that moving forward, because Netflix, literally the only reason they bought Raw for billions of dollars is to get into streaming. Mm-hmm. Now, you're really going to have them just put on another episode of taped shows? No, the whole point of the $5 billion.
Which is why people speculate that about that. But the one advantage that may happen is that the WWE announced they're doing a major overseas tour before WrestleMania next year, and more than one Raw and SmackDown are going to be over in Europe, in England and in Europe. So that if Netflix doesn't want to air like a pre-taped episode, those are probably going to stream live on Netflix like in the afternoon here on the East Coast. Instead of its normal time slot.
I mean, we have money in the bank.
They rerun it later in the evening for people who didn't watch it.
Right. I mean, where do we have Money in the Bank when Damian Priest won it? It was like noon, and then it was something like that. Like it was early in the morning when that Money in the Bank went.
No, you're thinking of when they were doing Elimination Chamber over in Australia, which was like it started aired like before like sunrise.
Oh yes, that's correct. You're right on that. But I remember that too. Yeah, it might have just been like in the afternoon. I forget exactly where that Money in the Bank was, but I knew it was overseas somewhere. But yeah, I think I can't sit here and be. I just don't want to sound selfish, because the internet was basically.
You're thinking of London when it was it.
Right. I think I was in London.
That was last. I think it was last year's.
But yeah, I just saw the IWC kind of being a little selfish with the spoilers. I'm like, so many people were just in there, and I was like, hold on, guys. And that's why I was like, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Ryback, because he was basically like getting pissed at the fans, saying like, how, like, you're lucky we're not as hurt that we still go, and because of not him, but they still go out there and do it day in and day out, because that's just how their body is trained. But it's for how much they do that for our entertainment. They deserve a lot more time off, and we've always griped about how much they're on the road, especially in the Vince McMahon era. Yeah, of the 90s and the 2000s and stuff like that. And just that, because it was that's how they had to do it back then. Yeah. That's just how it was.
Yeah, because
now they don't have to do that anymore.
They had to do, like the live shows, the events, the house shows, in order to be able to make money. And it's like they don't need to do that as much anymore. So, plus with the amount of money they're making now, it's a good thing. It's just the spoilers problem is always going to be there. That's the sucky part. So it's just gotta roll with it.
Yeah, you gotta roll with it. So I think the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah.
It just happened. I just like, let's just bring this up to discussion because it's a slow news week, and all of that. Mm-hmm. But yes, it's just like, and not just the wrestlers, the production crew on the road all the time, and Jeremy, we were saying the same thing too. If we could have a neuralizer, we would erase it. Exactly. We would totally erase it and act like this upcoming Monday Night Raw is like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But unfortunately we know it. So, and but we'll still review. We're going to try and review Raw like we don't know anything. It's going to be the best thing ever. But moving on to celebrate Eddie Guerrero, which is the first time we've actually kind of just sat down and talked about Eddie Guerrero on this show, which I said, like, I remember I remember the first time I knew of Eddie Guerrero, obviously, was in his WCW days when him and Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko were really getting that cruiserweight division really going strong in WCW. Then there was that Rocky Road that he had with the whole. Do you remember that shoot about spilling coffee or something like that? I forget that work shoot promo that he did. Then he was with the Filthy Animals, and then they left because he was just tired of all the WCW was a mess at that point. By the time him and the rest of the Radicals left, and then he mainly. Obviously, I think he really started to gain his footing with the China angle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think he really started to gain his footing.
Yeah, the whole relationship with China.
Yeah, and that's where he became, Latino Heat and stuff like that's where that all came from. And then obviously it just took it to the next level with the Latch Heat Steel. That still is being done till this day of that stuff that he did. I was there live when they aired that promo of him and Chavo on the golf course, where they were just cheating the whole time. And he was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, put me down for a 2. Like he was just doing that, and all that. I remember being at that live show on a Smackdown, I believe there. Obviously, him winning the title against Brock Lesnar out of nowhere because we didn't know that. They were like, wow, that was weird that he lost to Eddie Guerrero. But then we realized that, Brock was on his way out. So he just dropped it to Eddie. And then, all of his relationships, and you can just tell how much, unfortunately, a lot of times you really don't understand how much people care about you until you pass away.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of love. I mean, there was a lot of tears from me as a wrestling fan. It's just because you see Batista, he couldn't hold it together when he came out at Lowrider. Obviously, Ray won the title because of Eddie. And then Vince McMahon proceeded to beat the crap out of him after he won the title, but that's not here or there. But, and then just all the documentaries and stuff like that. And just him, Chavo was already good, but Eddie keeping him with him really elevated Chavo as well.
Yeah, Los Guerreros was so much fun. The whole light cheat and steal stuff. It's I love that stuff.
Yeah, and then him and Tajiri, he made everything work. That's the thing. You just here, Eddie, make this. You and Tajiri. And then it was just when they broke up,
you think that pairing wouldn't have worked, but Eddie made it work.
Yeah, Eddie that's the thing is that's what great Eddie was. Is he was I can make it work, and he's one of those mid card guys. Yes, his A&E biography is great.
Yeah,
but he was one of those. He's one of those rare talents that could work any level, work any style,
and make face and heel.
Face and heel. He can make everything work, and he made it believable. Even when he did the line cheat and steal and then did some heel work, with the custody of Dominic Mysterio, obviously.
That match is so infamous now. That ladder match. Yeah. But for the whole stip and also the botch. Vicky missed her timing and
where's Vicky?
Where's that guy?
Where's Vicky? On that, but yeah, Justin, I'll give you the floor. On what else sticks out?
I became an Eddie Guerrero fan watching him in WCW. It's him and all the great cruiserweights, Rey Mysterio and Jericho and all those guys. Great too, right away. It's I just loved his personality and his style. And then when he decided to jump ship to WWE, along with the rest of the Radicals, Benoit, Saturn, and Malenko. I was pumped. It took a bit because it didn't. The Latino Heat thing. I was I wasn't sure about that at first, but it eventually that got older, and it's he just put in the hard work, and when he beat Brock Lesnar to win the WWE Championship, it's that was one of my favorite things I've ever watched. And that match is awesome, by the way. It's it's that at No Way Out. 2004. He had a little help from Goldberg, but it's he still won. And then of course, it's he had a good run with the title, had a great match with Angle at WrestleMania 20. It's that image of him and Benoit at the end, being the top two champions of the company. It's that brought tears to my eyes because it's they're those two of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And I was just so happy to see them get their due. And it's that memory is, because of what happened with Benoit is a bit, isn't as clean.
It's a little tainted.
It's a little tainted. but I still am happy that Eddie got that. He got to be the top guy. It's like that Vince, let them be that, and just the stuff I like you talk about. It's like just so much stuff that you didn't think would work. He got to work. And probably so much stuff. The low rider, the light sheet and steel. The people still blatantly imitate the. It's like put a steel chair in a guy's hand and then pretend that he got knocked out. Bit.
Yeah.
It's like it's like that he made famous. It's like people still use that spot because they love him. And he influenced so many wrestlers. Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks being one of the biggest ones. Eddie was her idol, and is the reason why she got into wrestling. So he inspired a whole generation of wrestlers. And I mean, today, the Three Amigos, people like Andrade, Dominic Mysterio do it as tribute to Eddie. It's so his influence is still here, even though it's wild. It's been like it's like 19 years. Next year will be the 20th anniversary that he passed away, which is pretty wild. It's like time flies. Yeah, that's the thing, Jeremy. It's like because he was. It's like because he was one of the good guys. It's like nobody had a bad thing to worry about him. The problem, which ended up costing him life, was his personal demons. It's like drugs and alcohol stuff, and the worst part is that he finally was like clean and sober before he died. Like the damage to his body, especially his heart, had already been done and didn't even realize it, which is what makes it even more tragic. That we could have gotten like many more years of his work that was unfortunately taken, and it makes it sad. But and that's one of the reasons why he still remembers so fondly. It's like there's so much what if, because it's like he still had a lot more, could have had a lot more in the tank as far as like a career before he died. So
yeah. You see like wrestlers right now. AJ's 47, Archer's 52.
Yeah. Guys get in it's like look, Orton's in his 40s. It's like guys that it's like can wrestle into their 40s, even into their early 50s. Like Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes is over 50 and he can still go. So it's like the shelf life of a wrestler is a lot longer now compared to what it was like 30 years ago. So
and plus now they're all these. And he was another reason, like when they looked into it, there was probably some other. Now he was, like you said, he was clean and sober, but they were still looking into. All right, that was another because if anytime that they can go after WWE, the media is going to, and so they were looking into that. Obviously, it really wasn't a huge ordeal. It's just unfortunate circumstance of the damage already being done, but that was they still looked into some more performance enhancing drugs. Just because of what Eddie did before.
Yeah, and also remember that because of his issues with he got after a DWI, Vince cut him loose.
Yeah,
and he went and got himself cleaned up and got rehired. It's like
Vicky almost left him. I remember that from the A&E.
Oh yeah, Vicky made an ultimatum. It's like you either got to get clean or I'm gone. And it's like, and he got clean. He cleaned himself up.
Yeah. His daughter posted something on Twitter today as well of him, I think, after he won the title or something. It was just some backstage video, and he gave a shout out to her and stuff. And so she's even, she shows up. But yeah, you hit it on the head. He even said like
he was one of the special ones, and
he was one of the special ones. It just you felt it when he passed. That they were like this isn't just. Unfortunately,
that was a hard one to take.
That's when when we lost. I've been
him and then Benoit not too long afterwards was like a 1-2 gut punch that almost killed my love of wrestling.
Yeah,
permanently.
Especially when we found out about Benoit.
Benoit was worth because of what he did. It's like with the whole murder suicide that he performed, which was Eddie's is just more. It was just it's just tragic that he died so young when he had so much more ahead of him in his career.
And that's what I said You know, I didn't think I would ever want to. I've never felt that way before, and then Bray happened, and it floored me again. Which I've been on record of saying. You know, it just felt it had that Bray when Bray passed. It was like, oh, this.
Yeah,
this
I
is what
wasn't
it felt like when Eddie
connected
passed.
to Bray as Eddie was, but that's still tragic. You know, just because what happened.
Yeah.
If you need to seek out, if anyone out there who sees this, any matches, I highly recommend Eddie versus Rey Mysterio from Halloween Havoc '97. That's a 5-star banger classic.
It is a 5-star banger.
Him versus Brock Lesnar in No Way Out 2004 when he beat Brock for the WWE Championship. His match against Angle at WrestleMania that year is another awesome match.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not like a 5-star match, definitely check out the ladder match with Rey Mysterio for custody of Dominic.
Just look at that angle, that whole storyline.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy.
Just to name a few, I'm sure probably people would probably name some other like really amazing matches he had, but those are the ones that come off to my head that are like really memorable.
Yeah, because he also had some good stuff.
Oh, and then the bull rope match he had with JBL where
that's right.
Unintentionally tapped a gusher and nearly passed out from the blood loss.
Yeah,
that's one of the most gory blade jobs you'll ever see in the history of wrestling. Is when he got busted open in that JBL match.
Yeah, he did some, and then him. If you really want to watch some early Eddie, him and just trying to look up some him and Benoit matches, not in WCW, like in New Japan and ECW. See if you can find some of those because you can just tell the chemistry was immediate between him and Benoit. And obviously Rey Mysterio, like you said, with Halloween Havoc, I'll go back and watch that match every once in a while, just because it's so just a chef's kiss of that's how you tell a story in the ring between those two. And you knew you were watching something. These two guys were going to be around for a while. Those were superstars there. I'm trying to think of any some of his tags, some of his interactions, just as far as his backstage stuff. I mean, look at his interactions with Batista. I mean, I think he made Batista crack every single time they had some backstage segment. Like Batista.
Here's some other ones I completely forgot about. I was like, I did a quick check. Triple threat tag team title match. Benoit Kurt Angle versus Edge Rey Mysterio versus Los Guerreros from Survivor Series 2002. The Judgment Day match from 2004 is the match where he had one of the most gory blade jobs you'll ever see. Yeah. He and Eddie had some great matches. Both Ben Raw. There's that ladder match he had with Rob Van Dam on Raw in 2002.
Oh, that's right. Because it was a Frog Splash versus Frog Splash.
Yeah, definitely check that one out. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's.
Was it Jericho? Or was it him that the Malenko thing? No, it was Jericho. It was Jericho. Never mind.
Yeah. No, that was So there's some other ones there to check out for sure.
But just cheers, Eddie. Still gone too soon, but you definitely will never be forgotten on that.
We miss you, and you will not be forgotten.
Yes, but your legacy definitely lives on with your son Dominic Mysterio. You can't tell me. He plays into it too.
I do love he plays into it.
He was on Chris Van when he had his last when he was on Chris Van Fleet. And they were like, "Your father." He's like, "Which one?" he played into it. He's like, into it, "Which one? The deadbeat one or the other one?" He was playing into it. So, but it's just nuts. He's just one of those rare ones. He's one of the ones that you just we're talking about who to get to wrestling. It's like show them an Eddie match. If they don't like it, hey, it might not be for them. But Eddie is a good. Here's why we love wrestling. Watch that. So, and then Speedball Mike Bailey is making a move to the bigger times. Sounds here that he is leaving TNA.
He's officially gone from TNA at this point.
Yes, he is leaving TNA, and rumors have it, according to Sean Ross Sapp, I believe, dropped the news, that he's going to AEW. Now, as a person who's heard of Speedball Mike Bailey, but doesn't know Speedball Mike Bailey, educate myself and the rest of the audience of who and why should we be excited about Speedball for the future.
Speedball Mike Bailey is a Canadian wrestler. he spent a lot of his career in TNA. He's a 3-time X Division champion. He's only 34 years old. He's also competed in the independent circuit a lot. CCW, we're also Progress, Revolution Pro. Spent a little time in ring. Worked a little bit of Ring of Honor back in 2019, but and a little bit of New Japan. But the where he's gotten his most attention has been in TNA. He's been in there. He's worked there for the last 3 years, and he's a really good worker. I've seen some banger matches from him recently, especially him versus Chinosuke Takeshita at the Maple Leaf Pros 2-night pay-per-view event that aired recently last month in October. That was a banger. He recently just dropped the X Division title to Moose, former TNA champion.
Okay, that was him. I just saw Moose won the X Division championship. I'm like,
yeah,
why?
He beat Mike for it, and then after the match, Trent Seven, who had been in a friend and ally, turned on him and left him laying, and that was the last time we saw him. And turns out that his contract officially expired with TNA on the 1st of the month, and that match was last week, but that was taped just before the end of October. Because TNA tape a bunch of stuff ahead of time. Sometimes they'll tape 2 or 3 weeks worth of shows at a time. So apparently he's gone, and Sean Ross tweeted out about just about 2 hours ago that Speedball Mike Bailey appears to be headed to AEW, according to those Frightful Select have spoken with. More details behind the paywall. So the indicators are that he might go to AEW. I can see that someone of his kind of style would be attractive to Tony Khan, and if he's going to get paid well, it's AEW's not perfect right now. It's got its ups and downs right now, but if that's where he wants to go, then wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, I mean he's got. They're not. Their pockets are deep, and they have TV. So doesn't matter how up and down.
Get into the big time.
Yeah, because if you do well there, you're gonna just TNA. But you can just tell if he went to WWE, he might get propelled more. Can get up in AEW and get paid, and probably might pay him more because Speedball, as much as you told me, what I've seen. I mean, he's not we got to get him. He's not a Joe Hendry level. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's a good wrestler. So I can see him probably wanting to go to AEW more than WWE. WWE wasn't interested. Who knows? We don't know. So
we do not. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. But let's move on to SmackDown.
Yeah.
I'm not going to actually sing the song because it might get copyrighted even for that.
Okay, here's a recap what happened on last week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Show opened with Roman, the Usos, and Sami Zayn on the ring having a powwow. Sami said that him kicking Roman at Crown Jewel was an accident. He said that despite all the problems and differences that have happened, them working together again felt special. He says Roman felt it, and he's willing to come back and help them if Roman will just apologize to Jay. Roman said he was sorry to Jay that they were listening to Sami. Said that he's not family, he's not an Uso, and he called out Solo. Sami left. Jacob Fatu appeared on the video screen saying that Solo doesn't take orders from Roman anymore. He's the tribal chief, and he will come and go as he pleases, and expects to see him later in the evening. Then we had Bayley taking on Candice LeRae. Despite Candice trying to fake an injury to try to win the match, Bayley caught on to it and rolled her up into a cradle pin to pick up the victory. Johnny Gargano was chatting with the Motor City Machine Guns in the back. Tommaso Ciampa came up and yelled at him for talking to them, being all chummy when they need to get the tag team titles back. Randy Orton came out, very all pissed off, wanted to call out Kevin Owens. Him and KO got into a fight, which led to KO hitting him with a pile driver, which has been banned for quite some time in WWE. And Michael Cole and Corey Graves sold it like that it was a heinous thing that he did using the pile driver, which is a banned move. Orton sold it like he was seriously injured, and Cody and people took him into the back on a stretcher, and he was put in an ambulance. Pretty Deadly took on DIY. Well, didn't last very long. Ciampa absolutely destroyed Elton Prince and pinned him in like 90 seconds for them to win the match. Candice LeRae was chatting with Tiffany, mocking her, going back and forth. Nia came up to complain about the tag match, but Tiffany said it's all part of the plan for them to be able to get their hands on the tag titles as well. Non-title match, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill took on Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. Candice LeRae tried to come out to help them cheat to win, but Tiffany told her off not to help. That led to Bianca hitting KOD on Tiffany for the tag team champs to win the match. Then we had a non-title match, Motor City Machine Guns taking on A-Town Down Under. The Machine Guns picked up the victory. DIY and the Machine Guns had words in the back when the Street Profits came in saying that they get next and they're getting the tag title shot against the Machine Guns next week. Ciampa wasn't too happy about that. Nick Aldis appeared in a pre-taped video announcing that they were going to have a new women's championship, a mid-card title, women's United States Championship belt. He unveiled it and said that this was something new for the women's division to work toward. Then the Solo Sikoa acknowledgement ceremony closed out the show. Roman came out and said that he refuses to acknowledge Solo's tribal chief and never will. Sikoa laughed it off and saying that how can Roman think he's a tribal chief when he doesn't have a tribe? Solo challenged him to find 4 other guys to team with him and to take him on and the Bloodline on in a War Games match. Solo said that he had Sammy as his 5th man. And Sammy came out. The Usos then came out and fought the Bloodline, but when Sammy had the chance to side with Solo over Roman, he chose to side with Roman in the original Bloodline. They cleaned house, and they all held up the ones in the air. Roman joined in as well as the OG Bloodline stood reunited to set up War Games, close out the show. So that's all that happened on last week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown.
Where do you want to start?
You go first. There's
Why are you squashing Pretty Deadly? Like, that was the squashiest of squashes of all squashes.
Yeah, they were treated like jobbers. That was.
I mean, that was bad. That being said, I mean, I love this side of Ciampa. That was my favorite.
I love seeing a little bit of the old Blackheart coming back. I'm all for it. We'll see where it goes. If it means that they're both going to go heel or there's going to be a split, I'd rather not a split happen anytime soon. But that was kind of shocking. Felt bad for Pretty Deadly. And I'm worried about the Street Profits because it's like they're gonna have to job to Motor City Machine Guns. It's like right. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like where's this going? Because like the Machine Guns just won the titles. There's no way that unless there's like some like shocking swerve that they're gonna take the titles off them after they just won them. So I don't know about that. let's see.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. You see this? It's a
Yeah.
circle. This is how I feel about the women's with the Candice LeRae and Bailey and Naomi and Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Could you just keep going? Could you move forward? Could you move forward? Because it feels like we're spinning our tires for like a month now.
I'm getting. It's like. Can you just please have Tiffy just cash in and take the title from Nia off Nia Jax for the love of God, please?
Yeah.
As soon as possible. It's like this dragging out is like really starting to get on my nerves.
Yeah, the 50-50 booking is becoming more of an annoyance now of what they're doing. I mean, I understand like you're getting more teams involved and all of that, but it just feels like we're going nowhere.
I know, Gif. I just wish that they weren't treated like jobbers. They're better than that. But
but
it is what it is.
Yeah, someone has to. Unfortunately,
but this is what we need. This is seriously.
Yes. Yeah, and then Motor City versus A-Town Down. It's just a clinic. Like they put on clinics of how to do tag team wrestling. So
really good match with A-Town Down Under.
Yep. Candice LeRae, she feels so like I'm here, guys. By the way,
I'm finally glad that they're giving Candice something.
Yes.
It's like at least it's something new in this whole storyline. So this just adds more fuel to Tiffany eventually turning on Nia because Candice is basically trying to take her place now.
All right. So, who's going to win the U.S. Women's Championship? Mia Yim or Chelsea Green? Because those are my two favorites.
Those are my two picks as well of who should be the first women's United States champion. I'm leaning toward Mia Yim because she's never won any championship in WWE in her time there. Chelsea she's been tag champion before. Although I'd say give it to Mia first, and then eventually I'm okay with Chelsea winning it. But I really would like to see Michin get rewarded for all the hard work she's put in. It's like I'm pulling for her. I think this is a good idea. I'm glad that it's right now it's the only mid-card title. So if it's going to go back and forth like the women's tag titles, I think that works. Because I think adding in like a women's IC title right now would be a little bit too much. So I think this is a good idea. This it can float. It floats between both shows and gives the other women something to fight for. It's like it's not the tag titles. So thumbs up on this decision. I had a feeling this was going to coming after they introduced the women's North American champion NXT. Felt that was definitely like a test. This has been speculated for a while. Glad it's finally here, and we should see what they're going to do. Are they going to do like a tournament, a multi-woman ladder match? Well, because like they did a ladder match for the women's North American Championship in NXT. So we'll see. And ironically, Michin was in that ladder match for the first women's North American champion.
Yeah, and last time we saw Mia Yim or Michin, I don't know what she goes by now. Michin. Okay, so the last time we saw Michin was she beat Chelsea Green in that dumpster match,
which was great.
Which was great, yeah. But then we just never saw her again. I'm like, okay, and then
she's been doing like live events. She was also doing the overseas tour. So it's like she's being used. Hasn't been on TV lately. So hopefully this gives her. This is going to give all the ladies that are not around the title pictures something, which is good. So, we should see how they're going to decide who's going to get crowned the first champion. So pulling for her, but it's like her and Chelsea Green deserve to have gold around their waists in the near future. So pulling for both of them, but pulling toward Mia first.
Shout out to WWE of making a pile driver the most deadliest thing we've ever seen in our lives.
And it only works because that move is banned. Has been banned for a long time on WWE.
Yep.
And so it's shocking that it was used. And also, Cole and Graves put it over that, like it's. So that whole segment was really effective storytelling.
Yes, it was. I just felt bad though, is because we really didn't see Cody much. All we saw was him getting in the ambulance, and that's all we saw of Cody. And I'm like, wow,
leading to a Cody KO match.
Yeah. It's definitely.
Yeah. I don't think it will be at Survivor Series. It'll probably be at Saturday Night's Main Event, probably.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I just feel. Hey, I'm pretty sure he came out for a dark match or something like that later. But I was just kind of like felt bad for that crowd because most of that crowd there they buy tickets to see Cody. Cody's the biggest babyface, and he's the head of the company, right? I mean, I know people say, "Oh, it might be this guy and this." No. WWE's pretty blatant coming out and saying that's our guy. And it would just stink that you bought all those tickets to see. You just go see Cody, and Cody was in a backstage set, get an ambulance, and goes away, and they never see him. Pretty sure he's part of a dark match, but that's there. Okay, getting to the bread and butter of the bloodline stuff.
The bloodline.
All right, I missed the whole camaraderie, but once those four got in the ring, and just kind of was like, oh yeah, it got the nostalgia. The member berries kind of came back, and then Sammy went back to his. I'm gonna pop all three of these mother truckers in the ring. And he popped me. He goes, come on, man. Let's go back to when we were all riding together and me and Jimmy, we had the handshake, and then Jay was over there being a hater, and he gave that look, and you were all there in the front seat looking all cool. He was like, let's get back to that. And then he did the whole apologize.
I see you smirking. I see you smirking.
Yes, he's smirking. See you smirking. And I was like, yeah, I just love this. That's why.
And Roman's response was what I expected. And although I guess that it's like they wanted to move things forward a little bit faster. I was a little surprised that he was like, let that go. And that's like, and then, the ending, but you only got so much time left for War Games. So, but there's more storyline as far as the War Game, because when this was over, I was like, okay, 4-on-4, we're all set. Well, it's not going to be on 4-on-4, as we found out on Raw, and we'll get to that here in just a moment.
I almost banged my head on my desk when they were like, "We need another guy." I was like, "No, we don't."
And I'm going to get more into that because,
But that was a great ending to SmackDown as far as though. And then Jay sitting there. Obviously, it's the first time we saw him with the red yeet. He didn't have his blue. He's got his red.
I like that Roman was like, "I'm never going to acknowledge you as tribal chief." It's like never.
Right. And I like the little OG.
I love Soul's personality. It's like he's he's.
I told you ever since he interrupted the IC title match, and he was like, "I got tickets," and he was like, "Hey," and now you see that he's got to separate himself from being this. I'm the tribal chief. And then also shout out to Wheezy. She's a reactor, and someone did a mashup every time. She's like, "I love you, Solo, you my tribal chief," like just doing the Jacob thing.
Yeah. I like that Jacob got some promo time. He running down Roman. It's like Solo doesn't obey you at your beck and call. He's the tribal chief, pal.
Right. Yeah. Just and then him just sitting here like this the whole time as he's cutting the promo.
He's awesome.
He's awesome. I want that Braun. I want that Jim. I want Jacob and Braun just to fight forever because those styles will be amazing.
Oh, that match is going to kick ass.
Yeah, that match could kick ass. Anyway, and then at the end where and I did like that in the backstage segment, and then him having the little yeet on his OTC shirt. So he kind of got into that, and then him saying. Like what Jay kind of confronted him about, like you said, like I wish they let that burn a little bit more, but they had to kind of we got to wrap some of this stuff up, and it still worked.
Yeah, because now I understand why. Because now we understand that they got to add in fifth wheels into this War Games match.
Plus, Roman only works one night a week, so it's not like they could have had him on Raw anyway. So anyway. But yeah, that shot at the end and then Sammy basically like doing that. And then what exactly did he, in GIF and Jeremy, or anybody in the comment section, I could not understand exactly what Sammy said to Roman before Roman, was like, all right, let's do this, and put his one up. And then they all stood there.
I missed it either. It's been a while.
So because it wasn't on mic, but he said it loud enough that I thought you could hear what he said to him.
Yeah.
But that image, that shot at the end was just like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's like, that's why I like wrestling. Just that shot at the end of all four of them. And you can just tell, like, this kind of does remind me though of this War Games is getting, other than stuff that we disagree upon, we'll get to it here in a second with Raw, but that did kind of remind me of like Evolution versus Shield, like the passing of the torch type of thing. It's got that feel to it. I don't think it's going to happen. But because one was a heel faction that the Shield went over and not the other way around. But but yeah, no. Other than that, it was an okay, show overall. Like I said, the
It
women's
was
stuff.
solid until SmackDown. If it wasn't for the blowout stuff, I would have been like mad on the episode. But
Yeah.
well, I have no doubt he's gonna try to do some insane stuff inside the War Games cage, guaranteed.
Yeah. Yes, he will. So, but yeah, no, it's great to see Candice kind of still getting the footing and being a part of stuff there. As far as the women's stuff, Tiffany's just we're kind of tired of her just sitting around doing no, I'm on your side, but I want to cash in. No, I'm on your side, but I want to cash in for like past 2 months. It feels like, and then plus she's always taking pins, so it's like, all right, once she wins the title,
I know that's what really annoys me too about the Timmy stuff. It's like,
yeah. I do wish that they would have longer, kind of I want them. I know they're just there, and I want it down the line, but I need a blood feud with Motor City and someone else to really get them over.
I hope so.
I'm really thinking they might do a DIY.
I'd be all for that.
Yeah, just with Ciampa and if Gargano finally goes, because Gargano's been heel in NXT. So
yeah, he's done heel before. It's like I would prefer that. It's like he follows Ciampa back to the dark side. I'd be okay with that.
That or a blood feud with them and the Street Profits.
Mm-hmm.
If the Street Profits go heel.
Yeah, if they finally actually do a proper heel turn, it's
right?
Like what they tried to do with when they joined forces with Bob Lashley for the Pride didn't work because they didn't do it right.
Nope, they didn't do it right. So, alrighty then. But let's move on to Monday Night Raw.
Oh boy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's a recap of what happened on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Show opened with Gunther and Damian Priest having a confrontation. Priest said that he came out to counter all the usual trash talk Gunther was going to say. That the only reason that Gunther beat him at Survivor Series for the world title was because Finn Balor stabbed him in the back, and that Gunther knows that he can't beat him. Gunther showed a little bit of doubt. Kaiser came up to counter, and that led to a match between Kaiser and Priest later in the show. Damage Control revealed that Dakota Kai was finally back from injury and was joining them in a six-man woman tag against Pure Fusion Collective. Kofi Kingston tried to apologize for R-Truth about what happened last week, saying that Woods didn't want him to help. Xavier Woods cut in, upset. Pete Dunne came in and talked trash, and that led to Kofi versus Pete Dunne for later in the show. Then we had six-woman tag, Damage Control taking on Pure Fusion Collective. Damage Control picked up the victory. Welcome back to Dakota Kai. Hope you can stay healthy. Recap of the OG Bloodline reunion on SmackDown. In the back, Sami Zayn and Jimmy and Jey Uso were talking and revealed that the War Games match is going to be 5-on-5 and that they still need a fifth person to join their team. Not sure who they can ask that would want to, but Sami says he has an idea. Then we had Kofi Kingston versus Pete Dunne. Thanks to, once again, miscommunication between New Day, Pete Dunne hit the better end and beat Kofi to win the match. Afterwards, they got into an argument and some shoving was involved. The New Day disintegration continues. Finn Balor was talking with the rest of the Judgment Day in the back, saying that Dominic and Carlito need to step up and take care of the War Raiders, teach them a lesson ahead of him and JD defending the tag titles against them. And Dominic said he'd go take care of it and get a match made. Then we had Bronson Reed calling out Seth Rollins, and the two got into a brawl again. After the break, Adam Pearce said he's had enough and granted a rematch between Seth and Bronson Reed for next week. Then Sami Zayn came in and asked Seth if he would be willing to join the OG Bloodline to help them War Games because of his history with Roman. But Seth thinks that Sami's out of his mind to think that he would want to help Roman after all he did to help Cody take him down earlier this year, and said the answer is no. Then we had Damian Priest taking on Ludwig Kaiser. Damian Priest picked up victory at the South Island Chokeslam. in their match on Speed. The two had a conversation back. Sheamus making clear that he wants the Intercontinental title. But then Jimmy Uso came up, said he wanted to talk to Braun Breaker, probably about joining their team of War Games. Breaker said he'd be willing to listen. The Miz was talking with Phantasm back, saying that the Wyatt Six kidnapping him and doing all kinds of things to me, realized he needs to change and that he doesn't want anything to do with Phantasm anymore. Cross didn't appreciate that and took him out the ring to teach him a lesson. The Wyatt Six showed up to attack, but everything going on between Miz and Cross was a ruse and a trap, and the Final Testament and Miz laid out the Wyatt Six. Seth was going to leave when Solo Sikoa and Jake F. could take him. Solo said Rollins made the right decision not wanting to help Roman, and that he is asking him to help him put Roman away for good by joining his team for War Games. And Seth said that he doesn't want to help a Roman Reigns wannabe either. Then we had WWE Women's Tag Team title match. For the main event, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defending against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. The match kind of dissolved when both Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton came out and tried to get involved. In the chaos, Bianca was able to hit the KOD and Liv Morgan to win the match and retain the titles. The heels tried the numbers game on the tag champs. That led to both Naomi and Io Sky coming out to help them and fight them off as the babyfaces stood tall to close out the show in an obvious build to a Women's War Games match. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Sorry about that. I had a little technical difficulties. I didn't realize that it froze up.
It happens, man. It happens. Here's what I'll say about this Raw, and this might be a hot take, especially when it comes to GIF. The two best parts of it was the mid-card stuff. Was the New Day stuff, and I'm not going to lie, that Wyatt Final Judgment with them using Miz as a pawn and like Miz playing it up, I was very entertained by that because it's different. And we're circling the wagons with, especially when they came out and was like, we need a fifth guy. I was like, no, you fucking don't. You don't need a fucking
let's get into the War Games problem here. Two problems. Number one, forcing the bloodlines, the two bloodline factions, to add a fifth member who I don't understand the reasoning for it. It was perfectly fine to have it 4-on-4. Why do you need to add a fifth person?
You don't.
And it's like, I'm not going to get into exact spoilers, but all I'll say is like, okay, it made sense that Sami would go to Seth because of his sister Roman, and his response was exactly what I expected it to be. And I thought, okay, well, that's that. Maybe there's, it's like, but then Solo had to try. And as soon as I had, and even this was, I was thinking this even before things were spoiled for me next week. As soon as he called Solo a wannabe Roman Reigns, I was like, uh-oh. I think I know where this is going. So, and that's all I'll say on that. Because insulting Solo like that usually is a bad idea from what we've seen lately. I mean, it definitely kind of seems like it's leaning towards Seth, even though they showed the Usos talking to some other people, like Jimmy went to talk to Braun, see if he was interested.
It wasn't going to be Jay.
Yeah. Jay was shown talking to Rey Mysterio in the background at one point. It just feels unnecessary to add in fifth people that have nothing to do with the Bloodline storyline.
It really does. It feels forced.
And speaking of forced, is the setup and the really sloppy and speedy setup for a Women's War Games match, which this is why I was advocating for the NXT women to get the War Games, because it made more sense.
You know what? Let me give you center stage. Let me let you cook on this one, because I feel like this has been brewing for a while.
This really ticked me off, because it's like, look, the only thing that made sense is Liv and Rhea, and Rhea had been injured, And so she's out of the equation, and they went to all the trouble of setting up Io Sky as a new challenger. But then you got all these people kind of like it feels like they're trying to meld stuff together that it's like now the whole thing with Raquel and Liv getting up in Bianca and Jade's grill was just an excuse because now neither of them have had problems with them. So now it's like they're supposed to have a common enemy. It's all just rush convoluted bullshit build. And it's like as soon as I was like, oh, I guess that's the War Games match. I mean, even without reading the spoilers, I don't think it's hard to guess figure out who the fifth people are going to be on each team.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Who's the third man?
It's like, it's the usual suspects too. It's like, look, the last two Women's War Games matches made sense and were built upon, both involving Damage Control. First one was Damage Control was brand new. They were causing all kinds of chaos. Babyfaces came together to put a stop to them. Last year, Damage Control was still a problem. They were giving Bianca Belair a nightmare on SmackDown. Io Sky had cashed in Money in the Bank on her at SummerSlam, took the title from her, and so then they ran afoul of Charlotte and Shotzi, and so that made sense for a War Games match. And then they get Becky to come over from Raw to help them, which made sense because her and Bianca had developed a friendship, mutual respect, and also allowed Becky and Charlotte to quash their issues both in kayfabe and in real life by burying the hatchet and working together to take down Damage Control for a second year in a row. This is nowhere near that. It's like that stuff had been built on for weeks and months ahead of time. Where this is out of nowhere this week. It's like, oh, it's time to build a War Games match. We only got 2 weeks left, and they got the usual suspects here. It's like no surprise that Io Sky is going to be involved in the War Games match because she loves to do the crazy stuff off the top of the cage.
Kairi Sane.
Bianca has been in every War Games match so far. Makes perfect sense.
Dakota Kai's back. Shout out Dakota Kai. She's back. Yes, we're fans of Dakota Kai here. I know people have their critiques about her.
It makes me less sense because like Dakota just came back, and so like Damage Control's almost back to full strength minus Asuka, and Io is loaning her assistance to other baby faces, and it's
it's a cluster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a fifth person for the Bloodline Civil War is completely unnecessary. I really hope it doesn't take the overall match quality. I was so excited for this, and and I was like, but
because even I'll give you even last year's War Games, it still worked, but McIntyre being with Judgment Day just felt weird. It didn't feel right with McIntyre being with the Judgment Day. It's the same thing I feel now. Is I'm not to spoil anything, but it just doesn't matter who you put there. It's not going to feel like, why am I getting involved with the 8 of you? It just doesn't. Right. It doesn't add up. And it's okay to have.
Yeah, it's like that where like McIntyre joining forces just because they needed a fifth guy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So because the entire babyface team last year with Cody and everybody made sense, and him getting Randy to come back, that was awesome. It's like,
I mean, obviously the best War Games we've had as far as main roster stuff was the full Bloodline.
Now, for me, if you really wanted to add a fifth member, that would make really good sense. CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
To help because of the Heyman connection.
Yeah.
His history with Heyman. And also, if you think about it, months ago when Solo was starting to take over, and do you remember when Punk showed up on SmackDown the one time and Heyman basically begged for his help
Yeah.
Take me with you. Take me with you.
Right. Yeah.
So that would have made perfect sense. And we don't even have Heyman back. So it's like CM Punk having them out as a favor to Heyman would have made perfect sense.
Right. Yeah. And the crowd would have gone.
Because the idea of Seth, it's like,
especially with the anniversary of him returning.
What Seth said to Sami is absolutely correct. Right now, Roman has not shown any signs that he has really turned over a new leaf.
Mm-mm. He's just kind of going along with it because
to really show that it's like this is different.
Right. Because right now it just still feels like he's going along with it, even though he doesn't want to, because he
needs the help.
He needs the help. So that's another thing that's just a shout out to how they're presenting Roman is like he's a baby face, but he's still Roman. He's still got that.
He's still obsessed with the tribal chief Ulufalo. It's like,
yeah. So it's good there. But like I said, I know I might be odd man out, but I'm loving what they're because maybe it's just because of what we're looking in with the carrying cross stuff that he's doing online and not just part of the show.
I do agree with you that the trap that Final Testament and the Miz set up on Wyatt 6, that was great. Nice turn on the usual. Oh, here because another Wyatt 6 beat down. Nope, not this time. Thank you for doing something different.
Yes, it was different. And then Uncle Howdy laughing the whole time, doing his typical thing that freaked the other people out. So even though they were beaten down for the first time fully, it's still there's
definitely some cracks going on the Judgment Day again. Dom with some sly pot shots at Finn.
Yeah,
I wonder where that's going to go.
And then also if you go online, all three of them for the New Day, they talked about they reacted to their debut and just they shit on it the whole time. It was pretty hilarious, and they're gonna go all out with the breakup next.
Either Big E's going to prevent the breakup or Big E's going to fail to prevent it, and the Woods is going to turn heel.
Yeah. But like I said, those two were like the big thing of like that was the
Big E has to get involved at this point because it's like he's the only one that could try to like fix this.
Yeah. And that's where it's leading to. So that's what I'm saying. Like the Final Testament with the Wyatt 6 and the Miz, that was different. I was entertained. I'm into it. I mean, I've never said that about a Final Testament stuff. I'm into that. And obviously you would think it gets stale of them going back and forth with the New Day breaking up, but no, it just keeps ramping up. And Ludwig Kaiser being now. Let's get into that stuff. That promo by Damian Priest was really good. I really like that Damian.
Yep. I like the idea. Gunther's a little off because it's like he just lost to Cody, and it's like so he's got a little bit of doubt, and Priest is a valid point. It's like the only reason you beat me at SummerSlam is because Finn fucked me over.
Right.
It's like you didn't really beat me. It's like you had help. So that's a good setup for this rematch at Survivor Series.
And you can buy that Damian Priest can beat him because you saw him get pinned by Cody, which in turn, I'm not liking that they're just like, oh, I got beat by Cody, whatever. It was a good match, whatever. It's weighing on him.
Yeah, it's having an effect on him.
Yeah, so that's just
and also there's definitely issues between him and Ludwig Kaiser. There's like a build toward a split of Imperium is definitely on the table. And Sheamus is saying, "Yo, I'm coming for that IC title." It's like he's been trying to get that IC title for the last 2 years.
His whole career, really, because that's the only thing.
I think I saw people speculate it, and I think that would be a good idea. Is that they tease it now, but he eventually faces Braun at WrestleMania and wins the IC title there.
Yeah, I can.
That way, Braun has a good run with the title. And then give Sheamus his big moment when he finally gets checks that box off of his Hall of Fame resume. Winning the title at WrestleMania would be a great moment for him.
Yeah. Has Bronson Reed officially arrived?
Oh, he's it's like this is what I've been hoping for him ever since he came back.
Okay. I'm feeling that too, but I would just
he was in NXT.
Yeah, because because you can have sometimes where they'll come out, they'll go after in one of the top guys, you know, blah blah blah, like a Rikishi. You know,
I'm not happy that he lost to Seth at Crown Jewel, but I'm still like what they're doing with him.
Yeah, and like I was saying, the only reason I'm bringing that up is because they've tried to do these type of things before, and no one just bought it, right?
Yeah.
Like Rikishi when he did it for The Rock and he did it for the people. That whole time you're like, I don't buy this. I don't care.
Made no effing sense.
Made no effing sense. Bronson Reed, he came out, killed Seth. Okay. Then he comes out, kills R-Truth. Now, and then him and Seth go back and forth. Yes, we didn't like that Seth went over on him, but he still stood tall with that, you know, with the blood running down, saying, like, I'm still standing even though you beat me.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't put me out for good. And then they had their, I love the fact that they just.
So he really needs to win this rematch next week.
Yes.
He really needs to.
You
can't have him job to Seth again. Sorry.
No, you can't. And then plus just them, like, I know if some people are hating the fact of how many security guards Bronson Reed has put in the hospital, I love it every single time. I don't know. It just, they find different ways to like destroy 17 million security guards.
It's the build. It's like such a sloppy thing to build toward a women's war games this quickly. Yeah. This is why I was I was really kind of like loving the idea of giving it to the NXT one, because with what's going on in NXT, the War Games match made so much more sense for them versus what's going on the main roster.
It would, but they're not. They're still looking at NXT. Literally like 75.
And plus, they got the Iron Survivor thing coming up, so but it's like it's.
Are they really going to put Jasmine Nix? That's my whole point. Are they really going to put Jasmine Nix in a War Game?
I'm just saying, it's like that's would have been my preference. It would have been perfect, but it would have been make much more sense, like build than what we're getting right now with the women. It's like
yeah, because nothing against NXT, but just like you have 10 women that you know can go, rather than Jasmine Nix, who is still a little green. She definitely obviously they wouldn't be putting her in these positions and putting her with Fallon and JC Jane if they didn't think that she has potential, but she's not ready for Survivor Series War Games.
You got a point. It's just
so that's the only thing. Now, granted, you give me again, if you want to do 4v4, and because they can't have Jordan Grace, you give me 4v4 with that, but they're not going to do that. So it just it doesn't matter. So anything else on Raw?
No, nothing that covers it.
All right. Are you going to get center stage again for AEW?
No, I'm not going to be that ranty, but I'm definitely going to point out that it wasn't a bad show, but it's like my biggest complaint is about the Moxley thing and a few other things, but there's still some good on the show. So it's like, no, it's not going to be that. So
it was this. That was the problem. We were hoping for something this way and it went this way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, here's a recap what happened on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Show opened with a tag match. Christian Cage and Hangman Adam Page joining forces against the Bang Bang Gang. Switchblade Jay White and Juice Robinson. Thanks to hit a dead eye on him to pick up the victory for the heels. Mercedes Moné was interviewed in the back by Renee. She blamed Camille for what happened last week. Chris Stanley attacked them once again, led to spearing them both through a wall. Will Ospreay came out and called out Kyle Fletcher for a confrontation. Two had words back and forth, and Will challenged him to a match at Full Gear. The rest of the Don Callis family, minus Callis himself, came out to back Fletcher up, but Ospreay said that he also had backup, and Will Hobbs and Mark Davis showed up to brawl against Fletcher, Brian Cage, and Lance Archer. Archer heard Undisputed Kingdom music and waited for Roderick Strong to show up, and they went and had their match. Roderick Strong picked up the victory, and that led to right into Adam Cole versus Takeshita, because Dutch came out to attack Strong. Takeshita pulled out the Dynamite ring. It was hidden underneath the ring. He blasted Cole in the face with it when the ref wasn't seeing it, and that allowed Takeshita to pin Cole, pick up the victory, and prevent Cole from facing MJF at the pay-per-view. So it just looks like it's just MJF versus Strong. After the match, a beatdown was on by Kyle O'Reilly, came out to make the save. He shook hands with Roddy, but did not shake Cole's hand and walked away. No undisputed reunion yet. Hurt Syndicate was interviewed. Bobby Lashley said he's going to make an example out of Swerve at the pay-per-view. Death Rise showed up, beating up JD Drake. John Moxley hijacked cameraman and cut a promo on Orange Cassidy. Cassidy came out, backed up by Rocky Romero, Mark Briscoe. Said that he was going to be able to beat Moxley for the title of the pay-per-view because he's beaten Moxley before. And they challenged Wheeler Yuta to face him one-on-one the following week. That led once again to a brawl with Darby Allin coming out of nowhere to attack as well. Chris Jericho learned she cut a promo, and he accepted Ishii's challenge for a match against him in 2 weeks. They made Britt Baker versus Penelope Ford. Britt picked up the victory with the lockjaw. After the match, Serena Dean came out and had a stare down with Britt Baker. I guess they're having a feud. Mina Shirakawa was interviewed by Renee in the back, ready to finally reunite with Mariah May and have that same pain celebration Mariah has been wanting ever since she beat Tony for the title. Holly came in and had words, and that set up a match between them for a collision. Then Leo Rush took on Swerve Strickland. Swerve picked up the victory. After the match, he called out the Hurt Syndicate and Lashley, saying that he wanted to face Lashley now. Lashley teased getting the ring, but Shelton Benjamin jumped Swerve behind, and the Hurt Syndicate laid him and Nana out. Jamie Hayter was cutting a promo, hinting that she wants to get into the title picture, but her promo was interrupted by another vignette of Julia Hart's return. Very creepy stuff where it seems kind of torn between who she used to be before House of Black and rejoining House of Black. Very interesting stuff the way this is filmed. Then we had the main event. Winners would get into the 4-way title match against Private Party for the tag team titles at Full Gear. House of Black in the form of Malachi and Brody King taking on FTR. House of Black picked up the victory with Brody choking Dax Harwood into unconsciousness to pick up the win. The two teams shook hands in a sign of respect. Private Party was shown watching from the rampway and were into the match just like the fans were. And that's how the show ended. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite.
That Julia Hart vignette was awesome.
This one and the one they aired on Collision were both freaking dope.
That was so good. Yeah, I mean, I got to call a spade a spade. Those vignettes were freaking badass.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track there, Gift. They've been excellent so far. It's like I'm wondering where this lead to it. It's from what I can tell, it's like she's like torn between like who she was before House of Black and coming back to the House of Black. It's like kind of like there's like an internal struggle going on or something. It's and I'm wondering, like, looking forward to seeing where it's going to go.
Yeah, for sure. Really good rest. I mean, solid. Obviously, the women never got their freaking shine as far as in the ring, which I'm tired of complaining about it at this point. I'm tired of wasting breath on it. I think it just is what it is until they change their tone. I'm tired of talking about it. Serena D came back, no one cared, and Britt Baker just like no one cares, and I'm just like, thanks, Britt, thanks for putting over your women's division that doesn't do shit.
Yeah, it's like it's like nobody cared.
Right, but I mean, at the Adam Cole and Takeshita match was awesome. The Strickland Leo Rush match. I mean, them just going back, awesome. The
opening match was awesome. The main event was awesome. The wrestling the wrestling was outside of a few things, it was really on point tonight, which really helped the show out. Opening tag match was great, setting up a lot of stuff for the pay-per-view. The lows for me, like Learning Tree, blah.
Right.
The Britt Penelope Ford match was blah. And John Moxley is going to seize control of the Superstation. He seized control of jack shit.
Yeah.
That they hyped that, and it let it. So him seizing control of the Superstation was attacking JD Drake, who is basically a jobber, is basically in Jobberville, cutting same promo, same stuff as before. I didn't notice this before, but I looked it back. There was a time where he was cutting that promo, and the crowd was pretty much dead silent.
Yeah, they said something. I think someone was chanting something about Roman.
They were so quiet. You could hear someone shout at him, "Go back to Roman."
Go back to Roman. Yeah, because like I said, his promos, while good, are kind of getting to that Bray Wyatt babbling rabbit of just saying the same thing without saying shit. Yep. And I'm just like, give it some, your first couple promos, cool. Yeah. But now you're getting into saying the same thing differently week after week.
That's probably a good sign that it's like the crowd was like not into. It's like that's one of the most important angles going on, and it's like, and that's not good. I was surprised House of Black won the main event, but I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with
it. They
had beaten Cole.
Yes, that was the other thing I was happy about, even though I don't know why they're doing Roddy versus MJF. That doesn't have anywhere near the heat that MJF is Cole. But they did the right thing. Takeshita should not have jobbed to Cole, especially after he got pinned by Ricochet last week in that tag match. It's like him losing to Cole and him losing 2 weeks in a row when his title's on the line would have been really bad. And I like that it was chicanery, where it's like he had the Dynamite. It's like the Dynamite Ring came to play, which made sense because he sent it to Callis, and so Callis gave it to Takeshita to use against Cole. So they also teased Undisputed Era reunion, but Kyle O'Reilly obviously still has some issues with Cole for I don't know what reason, but I guess we'll find out. But yeah, MJF versus Roddy would still be a good match. Roddy, it's like I like Roddy, but it's not going to have anywhere near the heat that Cole and MJF. So I don't know why. And so it's like I'm a little befuddled on that. But the rest of the pay-per-view was shaping up pretty well. There's a lot of matches that are looking really good. They're being built well, like Swerve versus Bobby Lashley, Hangman Switchblade.
Moxley, Orange Cassidy. They bought me on that. Darby just sitting there though. That's the only thing. That's the only thing.
The one title match build that's really has been a mess has been Statlander Mercedes.
Shout out to Drywalls. Took another L.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just say. Oh shoot! I almost hit that. Yeah, Cole could have won. He could have.
Yeah.
But it's better because I don't think Cole losing to Takeshita is hurting him more than if Takeshita would have won by DQ or he would have went over. They're trying to build. Yeah. I think that was the right decision, but yeah, I would have been too mad about it, but I think it has more of an impact. And you're not.
Maybe they don't want to do MJF Cole just yet, but maybe they want to save it for World's End in December.
Maybe. And then what are the names? Eddie Kingston. No, he's probably still out.
No, he's going to be out for a while. Who would like to see the Continental Classic?
Shelton Benjamin would probably be in it.
Shelton would be a good choice.
Mark Briscoe would probably be in it. Well, he's in it last year though. He was in the last.
He was in it last year.
I think they'll have
Roman Switchblade being back in there. He's really over right now.
For Buddy.
I'd put Garcia in but I have a good feeling he might win the TNT title from Jack Perry. But if he didn't win, I'd put him into it.
Ricochet.
Oh, Ricochet for sure.
Yeah.
Ospreay.
Ospreay.
How
many are in it again?
I think it's like. I think it's at least 8. 8 to 12, somewhere in there. I can't remember the exact number from last year, but that could be produce some really good matches and provide a good opponent for, and plus Okada is to face Okada, so
yeah, they'll probably have Kyle Fletcher in it.
I'm sure Fletcher will probably be in it for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, no, off the top of my head, I mean,
that's another match I'm looking forward to pay-per-view. Ospreay Fletcher, that should be damn good.
Yeah, Giff, remind us again as we keep going through here of how many are in the Continental Classic.
If Ricky Starks wasn't in Purgatory, I'd put Ricky in there.
Yeah, but he's Powerhouse Hobbs. He's going to be in it.
Hobbs, that's another good choice.
Yeah, but yes, Ricochet for sure. Like 1,000% Ricochet is going to be in it.
Yeah.
And they'll be dumb if they didn't put Ospreay in it because the dude's a freaking walking money-making machine. When it comes to, but yes, I was surprised that House of Black went over on FTR, but I'm not disappointed in it.
No.
So, like I said, and yeah, the wrestling not always awesome, but primarily it is
like 90%, like 9 times out of 10 it is.
9 times out of 10, and that's the thing of why they always have solid pay-per-views.
It's rare that you get some really like bad matches.
Yeah, mainly it's from the women's division because they don't give them time.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know that Mariah May feud? Oh wait, there is none. Gosh, damn it!
Yeah, it's like they're wasting Mariah May's title reign right now. It's like hopefully now that Mina is there, they can finally go somewhere with it. Because
that was a weird backstage segment.
I'm still missing my timeless Tony right here. You know, it's like it's like get her back on TV soon for love of God.
And also, according to the reason Kenny hasn't really come back here and he's doing stuff in New Japan is he's saying that, Anna Jay. Anna
Jay's getting a no DQ match against her in Collision this weekend.
Yeah. But I did see
Anna Jay looked really good in her match.
I've always been high on her, but she definitely has her she has some greenness.
I think that time in New Japan definitely helped give her some more seasoning.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as New Japan, Kenny is doing stuff over New Japan. I forget what his freaking name is that he's doing stuff with, but he's basically I think he's not going to come back until after Tokyo Dome. As far as AEW, because he even came out and said he was like he wants to kind of give back a little bit to New Japan. He still feels like
that's what I heard. That's why he's going to make his wrestling comeback to New Japan.
Gabe Kidd, thank you.
But I get it because of his ties to New Japan.
Yeah, he also said he didn't want to come back.
Gabe Kidd.
Yeah, I wonder what his contract says. Just because Gabe Kidd's going to be a huge free agent when his contract's up for what he's been doing in New Japan. But yeah, Kenny was saying that he also didn't want to kind of just jump in and be like, "Hey, I'm back," and then take some spot from someone else. I'm like, okay, whatever you want to say, Kenny. I'm just glad that you're better and you can be back wrestling again. So at the end of the day there, but yeah, no, the Moxley stuff this is the first time I'm just like, gosh, would you freaking go somewhere, with that. But other than that, yeah, the wrestling was great. Crowd was had to be woken up 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So, oh well. All right. Anything else before we move on to NXT?
No, not that I can think of. It pretty much covers it. It's still hit and miss. There's still it's still good stuff, but there's also just stuff that just it just doesn't make any sense. It's like
it's all right. The War Game stuff doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, no, it's like and it shows. We're not biased here. It's like we called out like the stuff that we don't like in WWE, and we called out the stuff we don't like in AEW. There's no bias here.
Yeah, but it's just like
even when NXT, as much as I am enjoying NXT, like when NXT does stuff lately, like letting their top champions be pinned, we call it out.
Also,
speaking of NXT,
before we get into it, I just want to say, let's run the tape back. When you ask who's going to challenge Tony D'Angelo, then what happened on NXT? I'm just saying, I called it.
I think you did call it.
I called it.
We'll go over. Go over that here after the recap.
And a debut, technically.
Yes. All right, here's a recap of what happened on this week's episode of NXT. The show opened with Julia and Stephanie Kerr taking on Meta 4 after what happened during the 10-woman tag last week. Julia and Stephanie Kerr picked up the victory with stereo knee strikes to Jakira Jax's face. After celebrating the win, they were interviewed asking about the Iron Survivor Challenge match. Both Julia and Stephanie Kerr said that they knew eventually they would have to face off when it concerns the title, and they look forward to it, and they shook hands. Then we had the first qualifying match for the women's Iron Survivor match, Cora Jade versus Sol Rucka. Sol Rucka picked up the victory with Soul Snatcher on Cora Jade. Karen Petrovic was talking with Deion Lennon in the back, and Shante Donson Friendly Reese got involved as that whole storyline continued. Ava had a meeting with the other tag teams of the division, saying she wants them all to step up and show them who can be the best and maybe win the tag team titles from Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Then we had the first men's Iron Survivor qualifying match, Wesley versus Cedric Alexander. Wesley picked up the victory. Footage was shown of Tony D'Angelo eating at his restaurant when Sean Spears and Brooks Jensen arrived. Spears looking to get a title shot for Brooks Jensen against Tony for the North American title. Afterwards, they left and got into a car, and Spears made it clear he's got some kind of plan, and the car was driven by a newer talent named Nico Vance. Triple H came out for a chat about Ridge Holland. Andre Chase came out to interrupt and wants his hands on Ridge Holland as well, saying that they're not finished. Trick respects Andre Chase and wanted to give him a title shot, but Ridge Holland came out to interrupt, saying that Chase doesn't deserve that after he beat him in the ambulance match, and he pinned Trick last week. He deserves a title shot. All the arguing finally led to a match between Andre Chase and Ridge Holland set up for next week. Number 1 contender match. Winner faces Trick Williams at Deadline for the NXT title. But if Andre Chase is the loser, he says that he will no longer be associated with the rest of Chase U, and that Chase U would be effectively over. JD Parker cut a promo about the Iron Survivor Challenge for the women. Josh Briggs and Noah Pro Wrestling star Yoshiki Inamura were talking with Ava in the back. Eddie Thorpe interrupted again. Ava frustrated about Eddie keeping interrupting her. He's saying he just wants to get a chance and opportunity, and Ava says she knows that, which is why she's put him in an Iron Survivor Challenge qualifying match, which makes Eddie happy. Then we had Adriana Rizzo taking on Nikita Lyons. Nikita Lyons picked up the victory with the Vader Bomb. But Rizzo laid Nikita out with a crowbar afterwards. Thea Hale and the rest of Chase U were not happy about Andre Chase putting Chase U on the line again in this match with Ridge Holland. But he said sometimes risks need to be taken and to trust him. Then we had the next men's Iron Survivor qualifying match. Javon Evans versus Alexa King. During the match, Javon's ribs were hurt pretty bad. Alexis didn't take advantage of it, and eventually Javon beat him with the top rope spinning splash to pick up the victory and joined Wesley in the men's Iron Survivor match at Deadline. Two shook hands afterwards in a sign of respect. The three actually were talking about the things in the back. Frazier revealed that he put himself into a qualifying match for the men's Iron Survivor match, much to Axiom's displeasure. And it moved over to an argument between Out the Mud and the D'Angelo family, coming off of the tag team meeting with Ava. Alexa Singh was talking to other babies in the locker room, frustrated about his loss. They tried to cheer him up. Then the gals came in to mock him, and that led to Hank and Tank standing up for him, and the two teams got into words. Then we had the main event, North American Women's title match, Fallon Henley defending against Kalani Jordan in a rematch. from Halloween Havoc. Kalani put up a fight, but the numbers game from Fallon Influence was the key here. Nick's distracted ref and JC Jane decked Kalani in the face, and Fallon followed up with a Faymaster to put Kalani down for the 3 count to retain the title. After they were done celebrating Fatal Influence, the tag teams that had issues all ended up in a brawl outside in the ring area to close out the show. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of NXT.
I said right at the end there who might be going after Tony because it just kind of made sense in a sense, like that'd be his next spot. And I was like, oh, they actually did it. Like I was just throwing him out there because I mean, it just kind of like it made sense. But but I can totally see like 7 other dudes getting that spot. But you know, they don't put Sean Spears behind him to like without, and he's right there in the mid card of a next challenger for the NXT thing. Okay, so I need you to give me a couple of history lessons, not just for me, but also so the new debuted. He's one of those straight out of a Division I sport becomes a wrestler, correct? Like he didn't have any other wrestling background. Believe that. Number 2. I'm sorry, Fallon Henley. I didn't recognize how good you really were. This match was cooked.
Yeah, she's getting even better. Like I said, I've been high on Fallon for quite some time. I think she has potential to be really, really good, and she's showing that with, and you can see that's why they put the title on her because they see a lot in her, and she's getting to show off. Now she's got the title.
Now, just kind of tell me her. That's what I'm saying. Give me that history lesson of Fallon because other until she did the Fatal Influence stuff, I really didn't know.
She was introduced with being associated with Josh Briggs and Jensen. They were kind of like basically like a trio. They were the tag team, and she was like their women's roster ally. They were like inseparable. She had a storyline with Kiana James. There was a whole storyline with Kiana James was making the moves on Jensen, and Briggs and Fallon thought that she was just using him, and that whole storyline led to worming her way into the group. Her and Fallon were the women's tag team champions for a bit, but then she got her ulterior motives were exposed. Then eventually Briggs and Jensen went their separate ways, and she went solo. And then earlier this year, forget who. She eventually decided she turned heel, and it's done wonders for her. It's like because not like her babyface character was bad or anything, but it just gave her something new to do. It gave us a fresh infusion of personality, and she's really improved in time over the ring, and so that's like she's become quite good. And you definitely got to see that this week.
Yeah, no, because I mean, her and Kalani were. Kalani's always puts on good matches. Her promo stuff is not there.
Yeah.
Whereas Fallon's promos are solid, and then but her in ring work was like I don't know.
Yeah. If she's going to start using the famous as a finisher, it's like I'm fine with that. She did it. I like how she did it.
Yeah, and her and as far as like the new up and comers, other than the obviously like Julia and Stephanie, which I can't wait for.
I saw the big one.
I saw the big one. As far as like the up and comers, her and Ren Sinclair when now she's with no quarter. I'm really liking and she's progressing the way I'm expecting it to.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking about not progressing though, Nikita Lyons looked pretty shaky.
Yeah. I have to agree. It's very interesting that they're giving her this bit of a push. It's like, I was going to see how far it goes because it's like she's had 2 ACL injuries in the last like 2, it's like she spent most of last year on the shelf, came back for a little bit, then got another ACL injury, and only just came back. So she's missed a lot of time in these last 2 years. And yeah, it's like I wasn't that impressed with her. It's like Rizzo did her best. It's like Rizzo's pretty decent in the ring, but yeah, that was definitely. I was just like, I'm like, ooh, she's not as good as she used to be. It's like I don't know if it's the ring, trying to just getting ring rust off, just coming back. We'll see, but yeah, I was not impressed.
Yeah, the other one I was shocked. I wasn't like mad at. I wasn't like. But Soul and Cora getting very few time, and like
barely got like 4 minutes. That was
and then the ending happened. I'm like, wait, that was it? Like, you have Soul, Roca, and Cora Jade.
Maybe that's because they just they're kind of easing Cora to things. She's done.
Maybe
this was her first singles match since she came back. She's primarily done the tag stuff with Roxanne and stuff. So I think they're slowly easing her back in off the injury. I think that's maybe why the match was too short, and also probably why I was a little surprised that Soul won this. Not that I was like upset. I was like, oh, okay. I guess they're not ready to put Cora right into the title picture just yet. So she's not going to be in the Iron Survivor match. We got Soul Rucka is the first lady in. Which I'm fine with. She should be in there because she's like one of the most talented ones they got. So, but yeah, I was a little disappointed that her and Cora only got like it was like just under like 4 minutes.
Yeah, and I was like, that was like one of like, oh my gosh, I get Soul and Cora.
I was excited for it. I was like, oh, this will be. And I was it's like before I knew it's like Snow Snatcher, and it's like it's over. I'm like, what?
yeah, and it's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt Cora. You were just thinking like, oh, she's back, and she lost. That's the only thing. It's just the timing of it. I'm not worried about it. Like she can go back to being Roxanne's heater or anything like that, so it's fine. And plus, yeah, Soul Rucka is like, if you can put Soul Rucka in like an Iron Survivor or anything like that, like you're gonna put her in those specialty stuff.
Now, speaking of ladies who impressed me, I have to give credit to Lash Legend and Shakira Jackson of Metaphor. They hung with Julia and Stephanie this week, especially Lash Legend. Lash Legend used to suck. I'm not gonna hold back. She used to suck hard. I was like, oh, she is not good. She's put in the work this last year, man. She's gotten really good in the ring.
Yeah, because if you told me she sucked, I'm like, oh man, she must be making steps because this flowed
during like the 2.0 era. She was. It's like 2 years ago, she was not good.
All right. Oh, okay.
I'm serious. It's like I was like I don't know about her. It's like, but she's put in the work, man.
Was she like Maxine when she like in that weird Nia Jax bad, or
almost like Maxine, just a little bit better, but like like kind of like that green, like I don't know. But now I see why they've been featured so much. It's like they see a lot of potential in those two. And even though I knew Snow White, Julia, Steph are going to lose that match, they got to look well in defeat. And God, Julia and Stephanie are so fucking good. I love those two so much, man.
And then they're like, us too. I'm like, yay!
Like, I love that they did the double knee strike to finish Shakira off. I like that. And it's like, I love that. They're like, yeah, we knew eventually we're gonna have to face off when it comes to the NXT Women's Championship, but we look forward to it. It's like, we're buds. It's like we respect each other. So because they asked that, I think you can lock in both Julia and Stephanie into the Iron Survivor match with Soul. It'll be interesting to see who they're going to face in the qualifying matches. Yeah. They haven't announced any more of the qualifying match next week. The only one we know is going to be in a qualifying match this next week is Eddie Thorpe. And since his opponent has not been announced yet, I'm worried he's going to get fed to Obafemi.
Oh.
That would be kind of, it's like, because Oba has been absent ever since Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, he has been. That's the perfect time to bring him back too.
I would be shocked if they don't plug Obafemi into the men's Iron Survivor match. Because we already got they need a little bit because we already got the speedy people. We got Wesley and Javon already in there, which makes
if
perfect.
Wesley and Javon weren't going to be in the iron, I was like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
I was like, I knew Wesley was going to get in. It's
Right.
like so we already got Wesley and Javon. So we already got the crazy speed spot fest guys. We need the Obafemi in there. Who else do you think they might plug in on the men's side?
Well, it's not going to. No, they're not going to do that. They already got Javon. Gallus is now coming back, and they're doing all the tag team stuff. Like they've had that big old brawl.
They're in the tag.
Because I was saying one of the Gallus dudes.
Well, let's show coffee, but it'll be a little weird. But they do have a shirt trick.
Ashanti's doing his whole weird thing, not even being involved with that.
Jensen Spears
Jensen's going
to go after Tony for the North American. Maybe Briggs. Well, I think Briggs might be in a qualifier. We might see that Noah guy is like the guy from Noah that they sent over. I'm glad that they showed him.
Oh yes,
I'm looking forward to seeing him in the ring. Hopefully,
obviously Ethan Page.
Maybe, although it'd be kind of a little overkill because he's already. But I can see Ethan trying to worm his way into, even though he might not win it. I can see them putting him in there.
Right.
They have no one else to throw in there. But yeah, after. Because Soul's already in. Julie and Stephanie have to both be in there. Unless she's going after Fallon Henley in the women's North American title, you probably would expect Zarya to be in there, especially after she pinned Roxanne in the tag match last week. So, and so it's like. I think the other spot would probably be Jada Parker because Jada Parker got to kind of promo about it. It's like it's hard because after Soul, Julie, and Stephanie, it gets a little bit harder about because there's so many good women that could plug in there. So it's kind of like someone talented is going to get left out. Like it's like you got Zarya, you've got Jada Parker, you got Lola Vice.
Would you not put anyone from No Quarter?
I don't know if Ren Sinclair's ready for that yet.
I'm talking about the men's side too. What's his face? Went over.
Maybe Charlie Dempsey, even though he's Heritage Cup champion.
Well, I'm talking about the dude that went over to Noah.
Well, the duo are getting into the tag division.
That's right. That's right.
Tavion and Miles are getting into the tag division.
Yeah, Charlie Dempsey might be involved, but I don't. Because what else? Who else is going after the cup that I don't care about?
Mm-hmm. Maybe if they do like a last chance match to fill the last spot, maybe throw in Lexus King, maybe have him get finally get like a rebound. I'm still intrigued to see where this is going with Lexus King. It's like he's trying to be babyface, but he's struggling because he's losing.
He's losing.
He wants to be the good guy, but it's things aren't going his way, and so he's struggling. I dig it.
You ready for my A for effort, but still not understanding what the hell's going on? It's the title picture with Trick and Chase and Ridge.
Oh, it's like as soon as the stipulation.
Trick tried to save that segment, but that segment was all the fuck over the place.
Chase you, goodbye, Chase you.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Ridge Holland of all people are gonna just kill Chase you after 7 years? It feels like the Chase you's been around.
Yeah, that felt unnecessary.
Dorothea Hale, she's just there.
It's like what? It's like why couldn't you just made the match? Why it's like this number one contender match feels completely unnecessary.
You literally put him in an ambulance. I thought that might as well have just stopped the feud.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wasn't like this. See, this is a little convoluted here.
All right, so even though he pinned me, I'm gonna give it to Chase. That you put in an ambulance. That doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and plus, I don't buy Ridge at all. I just don't.
I don't buy him as a serious threat to Trick.
No, the serious threat is Obafemi.
The only people that I foresee being a real threat to Trick
Wesley and Obafemi are my top two.
Yeah, Obafemi and Wesley are the real threats to dethrone and take the title from Trick in the near future.
Not Ridge. I mean, obviously, Ethan's kind of been there. Sean Spears, no.
Ethan had his run. It's like he's gonna. go to the back burner for a little bit, which is that's okay.
All right,
Find
so
stuff to do.
and I just want to kind of get that segment out of the way because that was just all over the fucking place.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so is this the step in the right direction for the tag division on the men's side?
I think so, because now it's like they're trying to prove their worth. They're trying to prove that they're worthy, and still teasing the problems. That's right. Nathan Frazier is in a qualifying match. Who's his opponent going to be?
CM Punk.
Or maybe maybe he gets fed to Obafemi.
Yeah, he could.
That would be a great perfect action. Be like, do it.
Yeah, that actually would kind of be right. It's like he comes out, it's like, all right, oh shit. Every time his music hits, I'm
glad that they're finally doing something to try to build up the tag division, because like what we've been saying, it's been very weak for a long time.
Very weak.
There's teams, but the majority of them are very green. The only one who have any seasoning that are good are outside of Fraxium are Gals. And Gals has already been the tag champions before.
And then
you got a lot of young, unproven talent yet. Some of them are still green. Some are decent. Some have got some work to do. Like Out the Mud's not bad. Hanky Tank, they're all right. It's like they're trying to put in the work. It's like they definitely see something because they got to beat the Good Brothers. It's like so we'll see how that goes. But for my money, I'd say push the No Quarter Catch Crew duo because I want to see more of Tavion.
What was Otis? Was it Heavy Machinery? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Was that what their name was? Otis and Tucker.
Otis and Tucker was Heavy Machinery.
That's the thing is I can't not look at Hank and Tank and be like, it's literally them 2.0. Like that's how they were.
They got NXT. Goofy. They got that goofy feel to them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole brats and burgers and Ronnie,
right.
Big meaty men stuff. And I'm just like, it's nothing against them. I mean, every time they're on screen, they're fine. They're okay in the ring, but I just see them not as good as Heavy Machinery.
What I'm foreseeing is that we're going to have a little bit of conflict, and the Dusty Classics right around the corner to give us a proper new challenger for Fraxium.
Yeah.
Dusty Classic would be a perfect way to try to help refine some of these tag teams.
Yeah. But no, overall,
the women's division, man, it's just it's embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, even the mid card, just that. I will say this though, I do kind of want if they won't ever, but I still just want the sound effect in Obafemi's song now. Like as soon as his song hits, you hear Rin Sinclair going, "I am so sorry."
Yeah. But I tell you, the women's Iron Survivor match is going to be crazy because we already got Sol Ruka in there. We're definitely going to. Julie and Stephanie are pretty much locks. Don't care who they have to face, they're going to get in. And then the other two spots, there's so many talent. It's like that match is going to be off the hook.
Do you think they put a TNA person in the men's?
Maybe.
Zach? I don't think Joe's going to be in there.
No, he's a little busy right now.
Yeah, Zach maybe.
He's trying to get another TNA title match after he got fucked up.
I don't think they're going to do any TNA guys, but we'll see what happens next week. But they just throw Zach in there, I'm biased. But
the only match we have locked in for sure next week is the Andre Chase Rich Holland #1 contender match.
Okay.
They haven't codified any of the qualifying matches, so even though Eddie Thorpe and Nathan Frazier are in qualifying matches, we don't know who their opponents are yet. So,
do you think
same with Julian Stephanie?
This is the end of Chase U, but Ridge turns all of them against Chase, just to be super crazy?
That's certainly a possibility.
I don't think it will, but that's
it's like yeah.
Because once Chase U's done, what are you going to do with the other three?
It's like Thea was another one I'd love to see in the Iron Survivor match, but it's like that's the one drawback is that there's so much talent right now there's only 5 spots in that match, and it's like you're gonna leave some talented women out of that match. It's like so it's me because outside of Julie and Stephanie, it's gonna be very interesting to see who the other 2 spots are. Because
just let Duke cook. Just let Duke cook, man.
Yeah.
I'm tired of him being pigeonholed in this Chase U shit. Let Duke cook.
Yeah. Same with Thea. Let Thea spread her wings a bit more in the women's division.
Yeah.
Honestly, she'd be a great candidate to get that Women's North American Championship off of Fallon Henley.
Yeah.
I would love that.
That would be solid. Yes, it would be solid. Do you think do they think now that Kalani is lost that they just put her in the?
I don't know.
Are they? I mean, like
maybe just to, like I said, it's hard because it's like, I mean, like I said, it's like after Julie and Stephanie, you got Zarya, and it's like Lola, Jada, Thea.
It don't. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all second fiddle. It doesn't matter who wins. They're all second fiddle to the GOAT, the prodigy, the golden goose, the one that will always be in the rafters, in the stars, known as Roxanne Perez.
So you're okay with her taking the week off after what happened? Just happened lately. She kind of needed a break.
Yeah, I'm protesting like she is. I don't want to be there either. After what they've done to her, it takes an army to pin her.
Right.
Army. That's how hard it is to pin her. It takes an army, or at least more than one person.
Like Zarya to put her.
Yes, it takes an army, or at least more than one person.
Although maybe they may not put Zarya in there because we'll see where it's like Jordan Grace is not happy about that accidental spear, so that could lead somewhere.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking that they're going to put Zarya in the North American title.
That would make sense because if Zarya, it's already crowded enough with Julia and Stephanie both looking to dethrone Roxanne. You throw Zarya in the mix, and it's like, oh my god, like what? Plus the way she ran afoul of Fatal Influence previously, I think more likely she might go that route before going for the NXT Women's title proper, which I'm okay with because I want to see Julia and Stephanie both get a turn with the title after Roxanne. So
yeah,
it's just gonna see who's gonna. It was gonna be very interesting to see who's gonna win this Iron Survivor match. Who's gonna get that crack against Roxanne?
Mm-hmm. That it will. All right, man. Well, I believe that about does it for this episode of Ruckus Wrestling. Always a pleasure, as always.
Thank you to Jeremy and Chris Gift Kaler, our buddies, hanging out and chat with us. And
and thank you, Gift, for the topic of
we appreciate the suggested topics. It's like we appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate that. I always say this is not just me and Justin here. This is everyone's show that we want you all to be participating in.
We appreciate the interactiveness.
Yes, on that. And also, speaking about interacting, the other things you can interact us with is our other shows that we have. Tomorrow, myself and Soul will be breaking down the bracket bitches because we've got the MLS and the NWLS going on right now. Unfortunately, Soul's team, Inter Miami, is no longer in the tournament. The GOAT is cooked, unfortunately.
Sorry, Soul.
So yeah, But other than that, tune in tomorrow. For all you sickos out there that want to watch someone just be in misery.
It's going to be a wild because not only is SmackDown on tomorrow night, but right after SmackDown at 11 p.m. Eastern time is the boxing match between Tyson and what's his face? Jake Paul. Yeah.
Yep. So. I mean, that'll be interesting there. But yes, we got that going. And then every Monday, you see myself and Tushka breaking down everything that is in the world of fantasy football and our fantasy F around. We go live at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. So join us on that one. Tuesdays, me and my buddies play some video games. Mm-hmm. And you see a bunch of 30-year-olds arguing about nonsense because we didn't pick the right strategy. That just happens. So you want to see some bad communication, tune into that one. On Wednesday, you will see myself, Soul, and Tushka, or rotating third chair, breaking down the world that is in sports in our Rev Sports Wrap It Up. So if there's a sport going on, we try and cover it for you. If you have suggestions of sports that you would like us to cover, please comment over on our Discord or comment below in our videos that we released there. And then on Thursdays, you get to see these beautiful faces breaking down the world that is, was, and will be in the world of wrestling. So like, subscribe, hit the bell. Join us on the Discord down below. Link is down below. Please join us over there. We would love to have you all over there in that community, talking anything that is wrestling, sports, any topic. We sit there and F around a lot, and also just hang out, do some jackpot games every once in a while and stuff like that. If you're thinking about getting into the YouTube spaces, join us on the patreon.com/RuckusTV, where we will help you get into the YouTube spaces there. We've got War Games is cooking up. Please, guys, if you can, refrain from spoilers. It's a new era. It's not a bad era. It's a new era of tape shows and spoilers. So it's just like Deadpool and Wolverine. Be respectful. Don't spoil shit. And so, but on that, thank you. Yes, exactly. On that, we will see. You will see us next time, where basically the NXT show will just be Justin gushing about the Julia and Stephanie McCurry match. So, and probably we both will. But you know what? They still are second nature to Roxanne Perez. But anyway, on behalf of everyone here, thank you all so much. We will see you all next time.